this video, I want to talk about all of the books that I read in October, which actually isn't too many physically read. It was more of an audiobook month for me, unfortunately, because I had a lot of headaches, and I'm not sure if they are migraines, but really bad headaches to the point where I just can't even concentrate and I have to just lie down. And unfortunately, I can't do one of my favorite things, which is reading. So audiobooks for the win and for the save this month for sure. I tried to read as many Halloween related books as I could, which actually, now that I'm looking back on my list of what I read this month, didn't really pan out. I read actually a lot of really good books, so I'm really excited to share with you guys what I read. So the first audiobook that I listened to in October was Once Upon a Dream, which is the second book in the Twisted Tales, like the reimagining or retelling of fairy tales. I think they're all Disney related. I do want to read all of them, hopefully. I did read the first one in September. So yeah, I moved on to this one, and I didn't like this one as much as I liked the first one, which was about Aladdin. I really love Sleeping Beauty. Actually, I know a lot of people that's not their favorite. It's kind of boring for them. I grew up watching it, and I don't know. I've always kind of loved it, so I was really excited to start reading this one, and I just found it really fell flat for me. I didn't like how they portrayed Aurora. Like, I don't know, I just didn't imagine that that's how her attitude would be and her demeanor and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see how they kind of created a world for Aurora. Clever things with it, but that one wasn't really for me. I ended up giving that one a 3-star rating. I mean, that one I think is skippable. I know a lot of people actually didn't like this one. The ratings were not really good for this one anyways, but I never really too much like to go by ratings. I'm always, if it's something I'm really interested in reading, I'm just gonna read it or listen to it anyways. So, but in this case for me, they were kind of right, not great. The next audiobook that I listened to, The Cousins, so good. This one was great. I really enjoyed this one. She's one of my absolute favorite authors. This book just had everything that I like. I mean, it had suspense, mystery, thriller, yeah, just all the things that keep me guessing and keep me wanting to read and listen. I feel like I listened to this one fairly quickly just because I was like so into it and was so invested in the story. Like, there's so many twists and turns, there are so many things that you don't expect, and they just start from the beginning, and just more and more things that you don't see coming happen. And yeah, she just is so good at creating a buildable story and really to keep you guessing. I mean, I didn't really see that coming. Oh, but I should have, I should have, because you guys, I'm kind of bad for this. I always find that movies or books remind me of a lot of movies. So mute for a second if you don't want to hear a possible spoiler. Yeah, this would be, no, I won't say it. I won't say it just in case it is a spoiler, but it really reminds me of a movie. I will tell you. So just mute it for a second in case if you're not. I'll like cover my mouth so you can just like, when my mouth, like, when it's uncovered, then I'm. So if you want to know what movie it reminded me of, maybe you don't want to read it because it will spoil it. So it reminded me of The Visit. You know what I mean? If you've read it and or have seen the movie, well, you'd have to have read and seen the movie. Let me know if you kind of get vibes like that, right? I'm shaking. How did I not notice that before? But it's weird because I didn't really like that movie. It was okay. It was good. It was okay. Anyways, but yeah, I love the book. I definitely give that a 5-star rating. It's a new favorite. Actually, I would love to see a part 2 for that. I would be all over that. So I would be here for that. The next audiobook that I listened to in October was The Woman in White, which I mistakenly thought was like a thriller or a horror kind of story. Like, I was thinking ghost story. I'm not sure if I think I might have read the information for a different book or got myself confused with another book. I was getting frustrated because I thought that it was about something totally different. So that was my own fault, but it is a really good story. It's a really good read. It was very long and tedious, but if you do kind of like a good murder mystery type of story, I think that you'd really be interested in it. It was enjoyable to an extent. I just kept thinking it was about something else and not understanding why, like, you know, I wasn't seeing any ghosts. I wasn't seeing any psychological horror elements. Like, I was so confused. And then I looked up and I was like, yeah, okay, I can see. It's more of a detective murder mystery. So, my enjoyment level wasn't super high for it just because I had the completely wrong expectations for it. I think if I had read it at a different time, really knowing what it was about, I probably would have given it a 4-star, possibly a 4-star. Still maybe a 3, because I did give it a 3 in the end. Maybe a 3.5 to a 4 if I had been in the right mood and in the right mindset and really knowing what it was about, because it's a beautifully written, well done book. So yeah, I mean, if you kind of like Agatha Christie, I do like me an Agatha Christie. I feel like I've read all the ones that I want to read by her. Like, I've read all the popular ones and I'm kind of over it. You know what I mean? Like, she's wonderful. Her books are great, but you just kind of get over it after a little bit, you know? It's just very, you can get repetitive, guessable, you know, I don't know, predictable, right? Like, I mean, but you could say that about anything, right? Like, I love teen scream horror movies. They're all the same, but I love them all. So it's kind of, you know, it's just kind of whatever is like your thing. I gave it a 3, but the story is like a 4 to a 5, I think. Like, I can know that a story is really well written or well done and it still not be my favorite, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to love a story to know that a book or a story is good, you know? Do you know what I mean? Well, the first physical book that I had started reading was Hell House. Again, not like it was, at least this was the book that I was expecting, but it wasn't as good as I was hoping it would be. It was okay. It was kind of middle of the road for me. I also gave that 3-star rating. I wanted more from it. It was a slow burn with no reward at the end for me. Like, I didn't see that as being like, you know, if it's a slow burn and it leads up to something really captivating and interesting. But I mean, this came out in like the early 70s, so maybe it was fresh and innovative and captivating. I mean, now in 2021, it's like, you know, an old dusty kind of conclusion. So I mean, that could be it too, but it just wasn't what I hoped it would be. It was all right. I mean, it was all right. It was probably like a 4-star read for me until the end, and then it just kind of fell off a little bit for me. It wasn't what I was hoping for, so it was okay though. I mean, I would give it a chance if you like haunted house kind of stories. I mean, there's no harm in trying. It's not that long of a book, so my first 5-star read of the month was a graphic novel that I had already read and I knew that I loved. Was Pumpkinheads. Easy 5 stars, hands down. Please make a second one and a third one and a fourth. Like, make it into a series, because I would be so there for that. I love it. I love this story. I love this book. I love the graphic novel. I love the like animation style. Like, is that the right word to use? Animation, like the illustration style. I love it. It's so pretty. It just gives me all the fall, warm, cozy, heart-melting feelings, and I just love it. And the last physical book that I read was The Halloween Tree. I love Ray Bradbury. I do. I mean, I love all of the other books that I've read by him. Dandelion Wine, Farewell Summer, Something Wicked This Way Comes. Like, any other book that I've read by him, I've really liked, I've really enjoyed. But sometimes his writing can be a little too poetic. It's just can be a little bit too much, like too much imagery, too much high school English. Can we please like move on with the story? I'm not really understanding like how this connects. Like, actually it probably connects, but I just don't really know what you're trying to say. Like, I'm confused. Like, 2 or 3 chapters that I was just like, those could be easily snipped out and I would not even notice. Like, they added nothing for me to the story. I was waiting for us to move on and I'm just like, literally, what? And I mean, The Halloween Tree is such a short book. It's like 145 pages and there's a couple illustrations in it, so it's just like, it's not even 145 pages because the illustrations count for some of those pages. And I think that could be the kind of book to put me in a reading slump, Like, and it kind of did for physically reading, because I just never wanted to pick it up. And it's a novella, and I'm like, that should be something I can sit down and read in one go. Just going over some reviews. Like, I'm not the only person who thought that, which I'm like, you know, I mean, even if I was, like, that's my prerogative, right? Like, you know, we all have different tastes, and we all like different things. So it's my prerogative to feel that way about the book, but I'm not the only one. And people even say, like, you know, I love his books, but this one's just like, what? And it's too bad. I mean, The Halloween Tree, that should be my favorite book. I want it to be my favorite book. I've, like, have it as a favorite book. Like, I reread it last year for a book club kind of thing that I was doing online, and it just, I wanted to love it. Like, I want it to be a favorite read of mine, but it's just not, and I just can't make it be because I just don't really enjoy it that much, so that's too bad. So my next read of the month was Mexican Gothic, which I gave 4 stars, and I really, really liked this. I liked this book a lot, actually. It was very atmospheric. I was really interested to find out what was gonna happen. This one also reminded me of a movie that I don't think is a spoiler, because it's really not anywhere near similar, but it just gave me vibes of this movie called Skeleton Key with Kate Hudson, and I absolutely love that movie, but in this book, it didn't totally captivate me, so the conclusion was not 100% my favorite. But up until kind of the ending point, it was a 5-star read, but then it kind of went down to a 4-star just because of that. But a second book to this might be really helpful for me to, like, maybe even increase my rating to a 5-star, like if the next book was also really well done. And I feel like a gothic kind of tale that's atmospheric and lots of build up and tension, and it's done really well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So 4 stars, so really good. The last book that I listened to was Silence for the Dead, which I gave a 5-star rating to as well. It was nice to have 2 5-star ratings last month. Simone St. James has become one of my favorite authors. I have just recently listened to her last book. I think that she has out, or maybe that's just available to me, but it's the last one that I can get my hands on, and I've loved every single one of them. I think I've given 5 stars to all of her books, like maybe 4 stars to one, but she's an amazing author, and I cannot wait to see what she comes out with next. All of her books that I've read they all follow a pattern of, like, a strong female lead, a romance, a budding romance. Like, they never start out with anybody, but they, like, find somebody throughout the book, and it's always with a good guy. So, you know, we love to see that. I think they've all been timepieces, like period pieces. They've all kind of taken place in the early to mid 1900s. And 2 of her books have done, I'm not sure what the exact term is, but it's like 2 narratives where it's like we jump from the past to the present. So, and I really like that, actually. So this one was about a woman who pretends to be a nurse and gets a job at a remote hospital for soldiers who are shell-shocked, but, like, it's just kind of like PTSD that they're dealing with. I mean, like, not that at the time they called it that, because it was, like, took place in 1919. So all of the soldiers who live there all share the same nightmare. And so she kind of starts to, like, unravel what's happening. And a family had lived in that house before. Like, it's actually a house, not a hospital. That family had gone missing, and nobody knows where they went. No one ever saw them leave. So it's, like, a big mystery. So it's kind of like, okay, are they haunting the place? Is the place haunted? Where did they go? Did they leave? Like, so yeah, we get to uncover that mystery as well. And yeah, it's definitely fast-paced. You just want to keep going. Like, I mean, I know I listened to it on audiobook, but, like, wow, what a page turner. So it was really, really great. I really enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for her to come out with more books. Like, I hope some are in the works. I gotta find out what's going on there. Yeah, I hope maybe some of these books sounded interesting to you guys as well. Or if you've read any of these books, let me know what your thoughts were in the comments. Or if you plan to read any of these books, let me also know. So yeah, that's what I read in October, and I have a lot of, like, really fun reads planned for November. I actually have a November TBR video coming out. I'm not sure which one I'm going to put up first, this video or that video, so if you're interested in that, you can give that a look. If you're interested in seeing what I plan on reading in November, you can have a look in my next or first video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.